So this is crazy. Scary times here. Scary morning, intimidating morning for me for sure. If you've noticed any of my posts lately on Facebook, you know, I've tried to be pretty honest and open with everybody. And, a while ago, about a month ago, I had a post where I'm tired of running from what the Lord is calling me to do. I'm tired of, letting this little voice inside me silence me, worrying about what other people think and what other people say and, how people will receive, my messages and thoughts. And if you saw my post, I think it was Friday, I asked the question, do you ever feel like you're standing on the boat and you're looking out at Jesus standing on the water and he's just like, come on, just trust me, right? I know the floor of that boat's solid. I know the top of this sea just looks crazy, and in your mind it's impossible, right? It's impossible, but I just need you to take that step and trust me. So this morning I'm stepping out of the boat. This morning I've been running from this. I've been running from this for a while, but the kind of the Facebook posts have just kind of been testing the waters. But this morning I'm just going to do it. So this morning I will be posting my first video on YouTube. It just sounds crazy to even say that, but I feel like it's something that the Lord's been calling me to do. And so the channel will be called the Careful Sower. The Careful Sower. And the reason why is that there's kind of a story behind that. There's a testimony behind that. And it goes like this. So when I was a little kid, my Uncle Jim gave me a Bible. This is when I was really little. He gave me a Bible. And that Bible went with me throughout my whole life, everywhere that I went, from my time as a child at home, my time in college, my time in Florida, my time back here. That Bible went with me everywhere. I always made sure I had it. Did I ever read it? Not really. Maybe in times of fear or desperation, I might crack it open in Genesis, but then I'd get bored and I wouldn't understand anything, so I would just close it. I never made it to the gospel. I never made it to Jesus. I didn't know anything. I just knew that I always wanted that Bible to be with me, and I took it everywhere that I went. So I think 23 years old, I had a car wreck, and God used that car wreck to get my attention. I thought I was going to hell. I thought I was dead. I thought it was over. No seatbelt on, totaled my truck. In the moment of complete loss of control, I thought I was dead. And I knew I had this moment where I knew I was going to hell. And all I could do was scream from the pit of my stomach, no, and somehow walked away without a scratch. That night when I got home, I started hearing this little voice in my ear, this still small voice. And it was saying, Joe, it's time for a new life, right? Because where I wrecked, my wreck happened on interstate, and it happened on interstate right in front of New Life Church over there on Cedar Crest. And then when I got home, all I heard that night was, it's time for a new life. It's time for a new life. And so it took a little bit, but eventually I got serious about following Jesus. And it was a year or two after really following Jesus that I felt the Lord was calling me into the ministry to teach and to preach. And the full circle moment was one night Uncle Jim came to hear me preach. And I knew he was coming, and I brought that Bible. I held it up and I gave that testimony of how this thing was with me everywhere. And the message that night was about Matthew 13. And the title was A Careful Sower. And Matthew 13 is talking about these different soils and about a man who goes out and sows a seed and how the seed can land in different soils. Some of the seeds may fall by the wayside. Some may land on rocky soil and they won't be able to have root. Some will fall where there's thorns and the thorns will choke that seed out. And some will fall on good ground. And the whole perspective, and my perspective of that parable still to this day, is the responsibility and the accountability of the sower of the seed, making sure that the seed's going in good ground. Because, you know, the seeds that fall by the wayside, Jesus said that that's somebody who hears the gospel and they don't understand it. So the enemy comes and removes that seed from their heart before it can take root and grow and become fruitful. And to me, it's like, I think sometimes we get careless with sowing the seed, which is the gospel, in people's lives, and we don't take time to really make sure they understand and to disciple them and to worry about the rocks and to warn them about the rocks and to warn them about the thorns that want to grow up, right? There is a sense of accountability when you're going to sow the seed of the gospel. Like, you need to take it serious. And at the end of that message, you know, Uncle Jim asked for the Bible, and he took it and he wrote something in it. And when I looked at it, he had written my name and wrote the Careful Sower. And so the other day, when I finally was just like, all right, Lord, you know, I'm going to do this thing, immediately the title of the channel came to my mind, and it was the Careful Sower. So if I do it right, if I know how to do it, I've never done it before, I'm going to try it. This morning, I'll be putting my first video on YouTube on the Careful Sower, and the message will be the bottle. And it's going to be a message about this bottle right here and the lesson that it taught me the other day. So if you're interested, check it out. If you're not, don't worry about it. I get it. It's just as crazy, if not more crazy to me than it might sound to you. But yeah, I appreciate anybody who supported me, who encourages me. Really do appreciate it. And here goes nothing. Love you guys.